sentenced to 7 years in federal prison for real estate fraud. So I'm from Utah, and in 2005, I got involved in these equity deals. Turns out they're illegal. I was working with appraisers and bankers and mortgage brokers, and we were basically borrowing more money on houses than they were worth. Kind of like The Big Short, if you've seen it. Well, I fought and argued and complained and didn't cooperate very well, and pretty much made everybody mad. I planned to go to trial, and 3 weeks before trial, I was standing in the courthouse in Salt Lake City, Utah, and in the courtroom next to mine, a man was shot on his first day of trial by the U.S. Marshals, which is pretty unusual. So I somehow made it out of the courthouse when they locked it down with the guy on the gurney that had been shot, and did a press conference with the news and said that the U.S. Marshals had shot a man on his first day of trial, which made them very unhappy because they kind of wanted to be the ones to present that information to the news. The next day I was taken into custody. They revoked my pretrial release, and I spent a week at the county jail. Pretty much had a full-on mental breakdown. When I came home and I couldn't talk and prepare for trial, they decided to put me back in jail for a mental evaluation. I spent about 3 months being transferred all over to different prisons, and they finally found me competent to stand trial. I came home, I ended up pleading guilty, and had 6 months before I was sentenced. Now, I had no criminal history, so I thought, well, maybe I'll get a year, maybe I'll get probation. Nope. I was in denial about that. My range was 0 to 7 years, and I had made everyone pretty mad, including my judge, because I had drug it out so long, and I was sentenced to the max, which was 7 years in federal prison. So my family lives in Utah, and my husband drove me 14 hours to Dublin, California, and I walked into a high-security prison with 1,000 women, and it was pretty devastating. I was still pretty mad about the whole thing, so I was blogging about things that the prison was doing wrong, or that I thought they were doing wrong. And, well, they were doing things wrong. That prison has actually been shut down now, and I'll be testifying in federal court about that. But so they put me in the SHU, which is segregation. And I had spent a few months in segregation before as I was transferred around for the mental evaluation. So I knew kind of what I was up against. I didn't know what they were going to do with me, but they decided to transfer me to another prison. Turns out when they transfer you with the feds, even if you're in there on paperwork, they come with the U.S. Marshals with great big shotguns. They handcuff you, shackle you, chain you to another inmate. I was chained to Diamond, and they put you on Con Air, which is a real thing, by the way. And then they transfer you from place to place. I ended up in Grady County, Oklahoma, which is terrifying. When I walked in, they were tasing a man in a cell, and the girl Diamond, who's Diamond and I are chained together. Diamond's like, "You can't treat us like this. We're the feds." At this point, I know better, so I say, "Can you unchain me from Diamond? I'm going to take my shot alone." They put Diamond in an isolation cell. They put me in general population, and I spent